This is Tuesday, the 7th, and this is the Education Committee meeting. Thank everybody for being here. I see that we have a quorum. We have one item on the agenda that is Bill 2022-1169, which you all have seen before. I will let you know that there is a letter from Councilmember Benedict asking approval of this. I don't know if there are any more. This is the lease agreement between the Metropolitan Board of Education and the East End Prep. It was deferred before, so I don't know if you all have any questions or comments or... Yes, would you like to speak to it?
I could comment on it if you'd like.
Please.
Yeah.
Just the plan. So at the reason for the deferral at the last meeting was to amend the lease agreement. The board for the school is meeting on the 9th where they're going to take up that lease agreement and the requested amendments by Councilmember Benedict to increase the per square foot rental fee. And then her plan is to bring it back at the 21st, the meeting on the 21st.
So is she going to defer it this meeting?
No,
deferring
you
it.
cannot defer
Okay, I'm
it
sorry.
at this point. It can't be deferred at this point because it will be an automatic withdrawal if it's deferred. So her plan is to come back at the next meeting and present the amendment and suspend the rules at that time.
Okay,
Okay,
so.
thank you. Are there any other questions?
So on third
I think
reading,
you have a
it'd be
question.
amended. Okay.
I'm sorry,
Just to
Councilman.
confirm then, on third reading, it would be amended? Is
Yes,
that, okay, then thank you.
that's the plan.
Yes,
Thank you.
Councilman.
I would just like to speak to this because I'm also a co-sponsor on this, so I have been doing a little bit of research. And one of the things that I discovered that I didn't fully appreciate is the lease as currently written, and I believe is amended, begins last year in July 1 of 2021. And so I want to make sure that we're not putting a retroactive raise that they are then obligated to pay legally, from a legal standpoint, unintentionally. So the way it's currently written is their lease, which began July 1, was $4 a square foot, which they have paid in good faith this year. And the lease that's currently attached to it automatically raises it to $5 a square foot on July 1 of 2022, which is next month. And I believe that Councilmember Benedict has done some homework on market rate and wants it to be $5 a square foot. I'm not sure, and I haven't had a chance to talk with her because we've just been in different rooms. I don't know that she necessarily intends to put them in a position of having to pay retroactively when they have entered, and the school board has already signed this lease. If you look in the document, they signed it back in February, thinking in good faith that this was what the lease would be. And so I'm just a little concerned about changing it in a way that would then be retroactive when they've already signed what they thought was a 10-year lease that spelled out paying $5 a square foot, which is the market rate, beginning this year, and then going up. It spells out the inflation for the next 10 years.
Yes, Councilman Hauser?
Yes, well, can we not write in the lease that the $5 rate starts as of August 1 or whatever?
That's what this lease says.
Okay,
The
okay.
current one says that. The one that Councilmember Benedict proposes starts it at 5 and then goes up. And I don't know if she realizes that when she starts it at 5, she's actually starting it on July 1.
But that's what I meant, is can't we write it so that it's not retroactive to?
It would be up to the school board and the charter school to agree to the terms of that agreement. It's my understanding that based on the rent study that schools provided, the first year was supposed to be $5, but for some reason they put $4 in the lease. I don't know the background behind that.
Councilman Allen, please.
I will say,
Thank you
and I
for
have another
raising
question
your
for
hand,
you.
too,
We
please.
had 4 of these have come in front of us. This is the 4th. And in each one of those, they did a market study and said, okay, actually we have been asking these schools to pay less than market rate. And what we will do is we will give them 1 year to adjust their what they're paying us, and then the following year it will go up to exactly what market rate was. And so in each one of those, it began 1 year below market rate, and then a year later, which is now actually, because these were all done in the middle of the year. So all of them said this first year, which you're already in the middle of, we'll raise it to $1 below market rate, and then starting in 2022, we'll raise it to what market rate is. So one of those passed, one of them was rejected by the council, and one, Councilmember Sledge, is still trying to work on. So this one is consistent with those other three that have been brought before us, and they've all kind of gotten different treatment.
But what, I understand the retroactive thing being problematic for folks. But from your legal advice, how do we write this so that starting as of August 1, 2022 or whatever, it's at whatever rate we set and we don't make it retroactive?
That's what's,
Isn't that something that we can write into it? I mean, it seems like
that's
that.
what is there.
So,
And we can't go back and unilaterally change the lease. The lease is an agreement between the two parties, so they both have to approve it. So, Councilmember Benedict has requested that it be rewritten in such a way to go, I believe, to make the $5 applicable to the first year of the lease, which would be retroactive. The charter school is meeting on Thursday, it's my understanding, to review that. And then if they agree with it,
Okay, this is us.
there we go.
Thank you.
We're
If
mid-conversation.
they agree with it, this lease then would come back to the council on third reading, where Councilmember Benedict would ask for a suspension of the rules in order to put this lease, the new lease forward in the amendment. And then the council can approve that at that time or not.
So if
I'm going to
Well,
recognize,
should-
I'm going to recognize Councilman Benedict, since there were so many questions, and I think they were waiting for you to come in here, so.
I'm so sorry.
If you, that's okay, if you could, please.
Thank you, Chair. So this is a lease that was up. It was under market rate based on the market analysis that was originally given. The market analysis said that the value per square foot was $5 per square foot. So the original lease agreement that was attached to the bill was for $4 a square foot with an escalator thereafter. Well, if the market rate is $5 a square foot, my opinion is that taxpayers should be receiving fair market value for Metro property. So a new lease is now in front of the school. East End Prep is the school. A new lease is in front of them. It has to go in front of, I believe it's their board of directors or a steering committee of some sort internally. They meet this Thursday the 9th, and once, hopefully, they'll approve it, then we'll go ahead and get the amendment through MNPS to the administration, at which time then, for third reading, if the lease comes through exactly as I anticipate it to come through, I'll ask to suspend the rules so that we can have that amendment with the new lease attached to the bill that we currently have. So what I'm asking for tonight is to pass the bill as it currently is, with the anticipation that on third reading, I'm going to suspend the rules and attach this new amendment that has the lease terms that I negotiated.
I saw a hand from Councilman Hauser.
Okay, just to bring him in, the discussion was when the $5 would start. Because the concern was that it would be retroactive to last year and they'd have to give us a lump check. So do you know what is being proposed that they're going to be voting on Thursday? Has the $5 retroactive or has it starting now?
That's a great question. And so the market analysis was done in March of 2021. The lease agreement started in July of 2021. And so the market analysis showed $5 per square foot, yet the original lease that I received showed $4 per square foot beginning in July 2021, which is $1 per square foot below market price. That doesn't make sense to me to Nashville taxpayers. We should be getting fair value for Nashville taxpayer property. So as I understand it, it will be retroactive.
So they
And
would
then-
write us a check for whatever is the difference.
However it is the MNPS would handle that, that is correct. The collections would be retroactive to the
Okay.
effective date of the contract. I think it's July 15th, it's July 1 of 2021.
Okay.
Are there any other questions?
I'm sorry, John.
Yes.
July 15th.
I'm trying to think about where to ask this. Or let me say this. So I understand and I appreciate looking at the market rates and trying to get it to where the market rate is supposed to be and looking out for Metro taxpayers. The market rate is, you know, one good tool to look at. Another thing that makes the market rate seem kind of low, if you think about it, is that, like, the cost of renovating these buildings and maintaining these buildings, I don't mean maintaining like day to day, like picking up the trash and changing light bulbs and filters and stuff like that, but the long-term process that we go through in the capital budget to maintain these buildings, it will take us 70 to 80 years at this rate to collect the money that would then go, you know, that would cover that. So, and I will remind that we've gone through a number of these, and that I asked some questions, and at the last meeting, we had the COO from Metro Schools here who said, and I just kind of am saying this so that this committee remembers this, that Dr. Battle is working on a long-term plan with their like vacant properties and leased properties, and I hope that this committee will continue to ask questions about that, because you know, if we're gonna continue to hold on to these properties and we eventually get to the capital maintenance of these buildings, like, we're losing money. And so I just think having a long-term plan, and we're getting these like months after somebody already agreed to it, right? We need to get these ahead of time and have a plan. I don't know why do we know why we're getting these after they've already gotten an agreement going? Like, we didn't get these in July 2020, this one in July 2021, did we?
Attorney Darby, do you have the answer?
I don't know the answer, but we can try to find out.
Okay, yeah, I mean, like, we need to, if they're entering into a lease in July of 2021, we need to get it before then, and I don't know why we haven't, yes.
I think
Or,
I
I'm
see
sorry,
Allen,
sorry.
and then I see
This is a
Councilman,
question for Ms. Darby. While you're finding that
Cash.
out, can you also find out why we are approving Metro Schools leases? I mean, I've been on the council for 11 years, and this is the first year that I've seen us approving the leases, so.
If I could, that's actually exactly what I was gonna answer.
So one of the things that I learned, and I learned it through the administration, is that these leases, I don't know the ordinance, but there is an ordinance that says that council should have been approving these leases for some time. I don't know how far back that goes, but that is why, as I understand it, in the past, we had 3 come before us, I believe in January, and this is the 4th that's come to us this year. And I believe it's because there's an ordinance that says
yeah, I
that,
saw you, sir.
and Mr. Jameson just entered, but he may be able to answer the question.
We just like to throw him under it.
So I saw, and I don't know if it's the same question, so it may be Councilman Cash and then Councilman Druffel.
Well, it's kind of a follow-up to say, I don't know the answer, but while we don't get to, you know, manipulate the line items on the school's operating budget, correct me if I'm wrong, but the capital budget is something that we have some authority over, that they have to work with us on the line items, the different things that are on the capital budget, right? We have more control over that. And these properties will end up on the capital budget for tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars of renovations. So I do believe that we should have some sort of say in how they're used.
And I'm so sorry, I got y'all mixed up, right?
So the question, I guess, underlying question is, what is our responsibility, if it's a 10-year lease, which I guess this is a 10-year lease, what is our maintenance responsibility during that 10 years? Do we know what the projections are?
So MNPS has shared, and the lease has the details, and I'm sorry I don't know them off the top of my head, but in a nutshell, MNPS is responsible for the maintenance of the facility. It's a triple net lease, which means that the tenant is responsible for basically all operational expenses. Now, during the last lease term, a new roof was needed, and the tenant did front the money for the new lease, and MNPS then negotiated the lease rate down in order to cover that capital expense. I don't know that that's the right answer, and I'm grateful that this body now has the opportunity to review these leases so that we can make sure these are the best financial decisions for our taxpayer. But that's how I understand the capital side of things, and that's also how I understand the process side of
Yeah,
things.
Cash brings up a great point, but we don't even know what we don't know, I guess, on this. I guess it would be great to get a little
Have
bit more
somebody in
opinion.
here.
So when you get that, maybe we can ask the school board, how does that work? Or, what are the potential maintenance issues? Or if it's working maintenance, it's one thing, minor. But if it's serious, like a roof, that is an issue that we have to be
Roof
careful.
and HVAC and any of the
Yeah.
big systems. I'm sorry, Chair.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
I thought triple net included maintenance. I thought it was taxes, insurance and maintenance was triple net.
I'd have to double check the terms of the lease. I'm
And,
sorry.
because I
don't recall.
remember last time when we were talking about one of these leases, and we had someone from schools, he said that there was written in the lease a standard of maintenance that the school was supposed to be doing, not metro schools, but the charter school.
Yeah,
And I
that
remember
as well.
asking the question, do we have a standard? And he said no. So we're telling them they need to maintain it at a standard level, but we're not telling them what that standard level is that they're supposed to be maintaining.
So I guess, Councilwoman, if that's another issue that we can look at, you were gonna get us some more information, or when you bring it back to do that, then that might be a piece as well.
That sounds great. So, and I would ask this committee, as I said, and I believe you received a letter today,
Yes.
to approve it tonight, and then I'm planning to amend it on the floor on third. If we need to, at that point in time, pause at all or re-refer at third, I would absolutely be glad to bring it back to this committee. In the interim, I will make sure that we get the answers to your questions. I know some of them, I just don't know them at the top of my head at this exact moment. But these are great questions that I've been pursuing as well. And I don't know that I captured all of them in my prior communication, but I'll make sure that we get them from MNPS. And Mr. Jameson has been fantastic to be a go-between between the administration and MNPS. And so I'll continue to also seek his guidance and his ability to gather that information for me as well.
Thank you, Councilmember.
And I think
Yes.
the good thing is that we are asking these questions and we can get some sort of standard in place. Because the idea is saying you're supposed to maintain it at a standard level, but we don't tell them what that means. Does that mean painting every 4 years? Does that mean, what does that mean?
World class.
All
like
that
they're
means
That's
is
the same
fine.
problem with the Titan Stadium.
Certainly needs ethical codes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is now 3 minutes after 6. I'm going to ask the question before I ask for the motion. Were there enough questions that you all want to get those questions into us so that we can make sure that those are addressed at the next time? Or are we good with the understanding that she knows what your questions were?
Good.
Okay. Is there a motion? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Okay, thank you. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Councilmember
Second.
Swore was in for the vote too. I think you got it.
Yes, okay, yes. It has been moved and seconded. We are adjourned.
If
Yeah.
I may, folks, this is.